Evan Rowe opened his eyes to smoke, heat, and the taste of metal in the air. His vision shook as he pushed away a burning cable hanging above him. The Terran supply ship was gone, broken into 100 pieces across the green alien jungle below. He unbuckled himself and crawled out of the wreckage. His head ringing outside, the world was quiet, too quiet. Bird-like creatures watched from high branches, not making a sound. Strange blue mist curled between the giant roots that twisted across the ground like snakes. Evan coughed, stood up, and checked his gear. Only a small toolkit survived the crash. Great, he muttered, stranded on a death planet with a wrench. He checked for other survivors. Calling out, but only the wind answered him. Then he heard it, a weak cry, soft and sharp, a voice, not human. Evan turned and followed the sound until he reached another broken section of the ship, half swallowed by thick vines inside. A female alien officer struggled under a heavy metal panel. Her skin was silver white. Her hair long and glowing faintly. Her leg was trapped. Bleeding blue liquid. When she saw him, fear crossed her face. "You?" "Human," she whispered. "Do not leave me. The jungle watches us." Evan did not understand her species, but pain looked the same on every world. He knelt beside her, checked the metal, and began lifting. But the vines wrapped around the panel were strong. Every pull made the alien girl wince in pain. "Stay with me," he said softly. She blinked, confused by his calm voice. "Humans do not help my kind," she murmured. "Yeah?" "Well, I do," Evan said, and gripped the panel harder. He used the wreckage as leverage, pushing with all his strength. The metal lifted just enough for her to pull her leg free. She cried out, but managed to drag herself forward. The moment she was free, the jungle changed. The blue mist swirled faster, and glowing eyes appeared between the leaves. Dozens of small creatures watched them silently, their bodies low, their claws long, their teeth shining with wet hunger. Evan slowly helped the alien girl stand. "What are those?" He whispered. "Hunters," she breathed. "They smell blood." "My blood?" The creatures stepped closer, the ground shaking with their movement. Evan searched the wreckage, grabbed a broken pipe, and stood in front of her. "Come on," he muttered. "Try me." The creatures stopped, staring at him with their bright yellow eyes. They backed away when the smoke from the fire drifted too close. One hissed, showing razor teeth. Another climbed a tree to circle behind them. "We must move," the girl said, pain in her voice. "My name is Serica." "Evan," he replied. "Evan. This planet kills fast. If we stay, we die." With her arm over his shoulder, they walked away from the crash site. The forest swallowed them with towering trees and endless shadows. Every step felt like walking deeper into a mouth. Serica tried to stay strong, but her leg trembled. "Your people and mine are enemies," she whispered. "Why did you help me?" Evan shrugged. "You are dying." "That's enough reason." Serica stared at him as if she had never heard such logic before. As they continued, the forest made strange noises, clicking, breathing, whispering. Giant flowers opened when they passed, releasing glowing dust. Birds shaped like flying knives circled above before disappearing into the clouds. Evan kept scanning the area with a small cracked device. "Something big is moving around us," he said. Serica nodded. "The jungle lord. It hunts anything larger than a tree." Great, Evan thought. Trapped with a wounded alien girl on a planet that wants to eat us alive. They reached a clearing where old stone ruins stood, tall pillars carved with symbols. Serica recognized them and touched the stone gently. "My ancestors lived here long ago," she said, her voice soft. "This place, it may protect us for a moment." Evan checked the ruins wall and found cracks. He used his tools to shape a small shelter from broken panels and stone pieces. Sarika watched him with surprise. "You build fast," she said. "Engineer," he smiled. Wiping sweat from his forehead, "Saving lives with scrap is my job." She almost smiled. Almost, but then the ground trembled. A deep roar shook the leaves above them. A giant shadow moved between the trees. Slow and heavy, Sarika grabbed Evan's arm. Her voice shaking, "It found us," she whispered. "The jungle lord found us." Evan stepped forward, holding his broken pipe like a weapon. He could barely breathe, but he did not step back. Sarika stared at him with wide eyes. "Why do you stand in front of me?" "Because," Evan said quietly, "I don't leave people behind." The shadow moved closer, the trees bending under its weight. The roar came again, louder, closer, hungry. Evan tightened his grip, preparing for the impossible fight in that moment. The alien girl understood something about humans she had never known. Something no book, no soldier, no teacher had ever told her. Humans were protectors, even on a world built to kill them, even for someone considered an enemy. The silence broke as the creature stepped into the clearing, and their real fight for survival finally began. The creature stepped out of the shadows like a living mountain. Its skin was dark green, thick like stone, and covered with glowing cracks. Each breath it took sounded like thunder. Its long arms dragged across the ground, crushing roots as if they were dry sticks. Evan froze. Sarika pressed her back against the ruin wall, her injured leg shaking. The creature's huge eye turned toward them, glowing red like burning metal. Slowly, the jungle lord lowered its head to sniff the air. It smelled blood, Sarika's blood, and that made it hungry. Evan whispered, "Don't move." But Sarika already knew. "Evan, it can sense fear," she said softly. "Even our heartbeat." Perfect, Evan thought. We're doomed. The creature took one heavy step toward them. Branches fell, stones cracked under its weight. Its second step shook the ground so hard that Evan almost lost balance. He grabbed Sarika's hand. "We run," he said. She nodded, unable to hide the terror in her eyes. "But not straight," Evan added. "We circle the ruins. Make it confused." Before she could answer, the monster roared. A blast of hot air hit them like a fire wave. Birds screamed and flew away. Animals ran in panic. The jungle held its breath. Evan pulled Sarika and sprinted. The creature lunged forward, smashing a pillar behind them. Stone exploded everywhere. Dust filled the air. Sarika struggled to keep up. Her injured leg slowed her. But Evan supported her weight, pushing her forward with every step. He didn't think about danger or fear or death. He only thought, "Don't let her fall." They hid behind a half-broken wall. The creatures sniffed the air again. Unsure where they went, Evan quickly searched his toolkit. Nothing useful. Only wires, a battery core, and a bent metal plate. Then he got an idea. A crazy idea. The kind humans get when they have absolutely no choice. "Sarika, stay low," he said. She looked at him, confused and scared. "What are you doing?" "Making a noise bomb," Evan replied. He tied the battery core to the metal plate using the wires. The device hummed, heating up fast. Evan threw it behind a thick group of trees. A loud, sharp blast echoed across the jungle. The creature turned instantly and charged toward the noise. Trees snapped like twigs under its massive arms. The ground cracked as it rammed through the forest. Evan grabbed Sarika again. "Now we go," he said. She didn't argue. She trusted him more than she expected to. They ran deeper into the forest. Long roots twisted beneath their feet. Strange lights moved in the fog. Blue insects floated around them like tiny stars. After several minutes, Sarika collapsed against a tree. Her leg bleeding more, I cannot go far, she whispered. My energy is low. Evan knelt beside her. We rest for a minute, he said, but no more. Sarika looked at him with tired, shining eyes. I do not understand, she said quietly. Why do you help me this much? Your people hate mine. Evan gave her a small smile. I'm not people. I'm just Evan. And you needed help. She looked away, almost shy. No one from her own world had spoken to her like that before. The jungle around them suddenly shifted. The fog thickened. A soft metallic clicking noise echoed between the trees. Evan stood up. That's not the big one, he whispered. That's something else. Sarika's expression changed to pure fear. That sound? It is worse, from the fog. Dozens of small creatures crawled into view. They looked like thin, black spiders with long arms and glowing blue jaws. Their bodies made tiny cracking sounds as they moved. Their eyes locked on Sarika first, smelling her blood. Evan stepped in front of her without thinking. Seriously? More monsters? This planet hates us, he muttered. One of the spider creatures hissed. Its jaw opened wider than its own body, revealing rows of sharp blue teeth. Sarika whispered, They hunt in packs, and they do not fear fire. Evan grabbed a broken branch. I don't need fire, he said quietly. He began tapping the branch against a stone. Tap, 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 slow and steady. The creatures paused, confused. Sarika frowned. What are you doing? Sound rhythm, Evan said. Animals hate patterns they don't understand. He increased the speed. Tap dash, tap dash, tap dash, tap. The creatures hissed louder, stepping back. The strange sound bothered them, their heads twitching. Evan raised his voice. Yeah, run! Confusion beats fear. But one creature jumped at him. Fast, deadly, Evan swung the branch, hitting it mid-air and sending it crashing into a tree. Sarika gasped. You fight like a warrior, she whispered. I fix machines, Evan said, panting, but I hit monsters too. More creatures rushed forward. Evan braced for impact, but suddenly a huge shadow loomed over them. A deep roar shook the ground. The jungle lord had returned. The spider creatures scattered instantly. Terrified of the bigger predator, the monster charged through them, smashing trees, hunting the smaller creatures. Evan quickly pulled Sarika away. We go while they fight, he said. She nodded, weak but determined. They moved deeper until the roaring faded. They reached a dark cave hidden behind thick plants. Inside, glowing crystals lit the walls like stars. Sarika sat down, breathing hard, her eyes soft and tired. We escaped, she whispered. Evan sat beside her. Yeah, he said, but the night is long. Outside? The jungle growled. Creatures screamed. The storm clouds gathered above. And Evan and Sarika knew the truth. This planet would not let them rest for long. They survived one night, but dawn would bring something far worse. The cave protected them from the jungle for a few quiet minutes. But the silence felt strange. The jungle never stayed quiet for long. Evan listened carefully. No roars, no insects, no wind. Sarika leaned against the wall, breathing slow. Her leg wound had stopped bleeding, but the blue liquid dried like crystal dust. She looked weaker now, her silver skin dim in the dark light. Evan checked the cave walls. Glowing crystals pulsed gently, brightening and dimming like a heartbeat. He touched one. It hummed like a sleeping machine. Sarika whispered, These crystals. My people call them Lysae stones. They are alive. In a way, Evan raised an eyebrow. Alive rocks? This planet keeps getting better. Sarika almost smiled, but the pain pulled her expression back into a frown. We must keep moving before the jungle lord returns, she said, or before the night hunters smell us. Evan helped her stand. He wrapped a piece of cloth around her leg. Simple, but enough. She looked at him quietly. You care too much for someone who met me an hour ago, Evan shrugged. It's what humans do, she nodded slowly. I see that now. They left the cave and followed a narrow path of smooth stones. The fog lifted slightly. In the distance, the jungle split into a wide valley filled with ancient pillars. Tall white structures rose from the ground like giant bones. Sarika inhaled sharply. This is the Temple of Light, she whispered. My ancestors built it 1,000 years ago. Evan looked around. Impressed. It didn't look destroyed. It looked abandoned but proud. Large doorways stood half buried in vines. Golden lines ran along the stone walls like flowing rivers. Your people built all this? He asked. Sarika nodded. My race once lived here before the storms changed the planet. This place kept our history, our power, our secrets. She placed her hand on a glowing symbol near the entrance. The stone shifted, humming softly. A wide doorway opened. Light pouring out like warm sunrise. Evan blinked. This still works after 1,000 years? Sarika nodded. Our technology burns slowly but never dies. They stepped inside. The air was warm and smelled of old metal and flowers. Floating lights drifted above them, moving slowly like stars underwater. This is incredible, Evan whispered. He had worked with Terran tech all his life, but this felt alive, ancient and futuristic at the same time. Inside the first chamber, a long table carved from one single stone sat in the center. Small round devices lay across it. Tools, scanners, energy crystals. Evan picked one up. This is a power cell, he said with awe, and it's still charged. Sarika limped to a circular device against the wall. She pressed a sequence of symbols. The machine lit up, projecting a large hologram of the planet. Storm clouds spun rapidly around it, forming a dark spiral. Evan stepped closer. What is that? Sarika looked worried. A planet storm. The Great Spiral. It destroys everything every 10 years. The hologram flashed red. A countdown appeared. 3 days remaining. Evan exhaled slowly. 3 days until the storm hits us. Sarika nodded, her voice calm but heavy. If we do not find a rescue ship before the storm arrives, we die. Evan rubbed his forehead. So we find a signal device, he said, or we build one. Sarika looked at him with sudden excitement. Can you do that? Maybe, Evan said, if I can find old technology strong enough. She guided him deeper into the temple. They reached a long hallway filled with statues of tall alien figures. Each statue wore glowing armor and carried a staff with a crystal on top. My ancestors were protectors, Sarika whispered. They defended this world from everything. Until the storms made them leave. Evan looked at her. And now their descendant is stuck on the same planet with a random engineer. Sarika tilted her head. Not random, she said softly. You saved me. That makes you important. Before Evan could respond, a sudden metallic sound echoed through the temple. A loud clicking noise, followed by a deep rumble. Sarika stiffened. No, not now. A guardian machine crawled from the shadows. Its body shaped like a 4-legged beast made of golden plates. Blue lights glowed under its armor. Its face was a flat mask with a single bright eye. Evan raised his hand slowly. What is that thing? A protector drone, Sarika said. It guards the temple from intruders. Evan looked around. Great. Does it know we're not intruders? Sarika shook her head. It does not care. It scans blood and metal. Anyone who is not registered is an enemy. The drone charged a bright blue beam in its chest. Evan quickly pulled Sarika behind a broken pillar. The beam shot past them, melting the wall like wax. Okay. Evan shouted, That thing wants us dead. Sarika nodded. We must destroy it. Evan looked at the glowing crystals along the wall. An idea sparked in his mind. He grabbed a long, thin wire from his toolkit. He connected it to one of the floating crystals. The crystal vibrated with raw energy. Sarika watched, amazed. You understand our technology? Energy is energy, Evan replied. You just need to know where it flows. He threw the wired crystal toward the drone. Sarika used her last strength to kick it closer. The drone stepped on the crystal. The energy burst upward. Shocking its entire body, the Guardian screamed in a mechanical voice. Lights flickered, its legs crumbled. Finally, it collapsed, smoking and sparking. Sarika leaned against the wall, breathing hard. You saved us again, she whispered. Evan wiped sweat off his forehead. Yeah, he said. Next time. Let's fight something smaller. The temple quieted. Only the hologram hummed softly in the background, the countdown still glowing. 3 days. Evan looked at the map again. We need to move, he said. There's a communication tower marked in the next valley. Sarika nodded. Together. They walked into the next chamber, unaware that the worst betrayal was waiting there. One that would decide whether they lived or died before the storm even began. Evan and Sarika stepped into the next chamber. The air was warmer here, brighter. Golden walls curved around them like the inside of a giant shell. Soft lights floated above their heads, humming gently. In the center of the room stood a tall column with symbols carved down its length. Sarika touched one of them, and a hologram flickered to life. A map of the valley appeared, mountains, rivers, old cities, and a glowing point far away. That, Sarika whispered, is the ancient communication tower. Evan studied the mark. It's far, he said. Maybe 2 days. He looked at the countdown on the hologram. 3 days left. We can make it. Sarika nodded, her expression softening with hope. For the first time since the crash, she allowed herself to breathe, her glowing eyes lifted toward him. You have given me something rare, Evan. What's that? He asked. Hope, she said quietly. But before he could answer, a loud rumble echoed through the temple. A beam of red light split the air, shooting down from the ceiling. Evan pushed Sarika aside just in time. What was that? He shouted. Sarika's face turned pale. No, it cannot be. The ceiling opened like flower petals. A ship descended, long, metallic, sharp like a blade. It bore the emblem of Sarika's fleet, glowing bright gold. Her people, her rescue. Evan stepped back, suddenly unsure. Sarika? Is this good or bad? She didn't answer. Her eyes filled with fear. Not joy. The ship landed, its engines blowing dust through the chamber. A ramp lowered. 5 armored alien soldiers marched out, their helmets shaped like wolf skulls, their weapons glowing blue. The captain stepped forward, tall and cold, his armor decorated with golden stripes. He looked at Sarika first. Officer Sarika, you are alive, he said firmly. We received your beacon. Sarika bowed slightly. Yes, Captain Veyron, she said quietly. I survived thanks to. His gaze shifted to Evan. A human, covered in dirt, holding tools. Standing beside a wounded alien woman, the captain's face changed instantly. Capture him, he ordered. 2 soldiers moved forward. Raising weapons, Evan froze. What? Capture? Hey! I'm the one who. Sarika stepped in front of him, blocking the soldiers. No! She shouted. Her voice shook the air. He saved my life. Captain Veyron's expression stayed cold. That does not matter, he said. His species belongs to us. Humans are taken for labor. Evan clenched his jaw. So I save you, and I get rewarded with slavery? The captain ignored him. He turned to Sarika. You must step aside. His tone was final, commanding. or you will be disobeying the fleet." Sarika's hands trembled. Her leg hurt, her heart hurt more. She looked back at Evan. He stood there silently, tired, bruised, still trying to protect her even now, she whispered. "He is not a slave." Captain Veron raised his weapon toward Evan. Sarika gasped, "No." She stepped between them, arms spread, her voice broke. "You cannot harm him. He risked everything for me." Varen's eyes narrowed. "Your emotions are clouded," he said. "You forget your place, officer." The other soldiers pointed weapons at Evan. But the jungle stirred outside. A heavy bass-like rumble shook the ground. The captain turned sharply. "What was that?" Evan whispered. "Oh, you're about to meet the welcoming party." A roar rolled through the valley, loud enough to shake dust from the temple walls. The jungle lord, it had tracked them again. And it was angry. The soldiers looked uneasy. Sarika stepped closer to Evan. "We must leave," she whispered. "They will not survive this creature." Captain Veron raised his chin. "We fear nothing," he said proudly. But he didn't understand this planet, and Evan knew it. The monster crashed through the trees, huge glowing cracks across its body. Its roar shook the temple and blasted air up the ramp. The alien soldiers opened fire. Blue beams struck the creature, but it barely slowed. "Sarika!" Evan grabbed her arm. "We have to go." For a moment, she hesitated, torn between duty and the man who saved her. Her people versus the human who protected her. Her history versus her heart. But then one of the soldiers screamed as the monster crushed him. Sarika's eyes filled with terror and decision. She grabbed Evan's hand. "Run," she whispered. "I choose you." They sprinted toward a side exit as the temple shook. Behind them, the soldiers battled the creature. The screams echoed, energy beams lit the ruins. Stone pillars fell one by one. Evan supported Sarika as they ran into the forest. The storm clouds above flashed with distant lightning. The countdown had not changed, 3 days left, but now they were running from two dangers, the storm, and Sarika's own people. She looked at Evan with a trembling voice. "They will hunt us," she said. "They will never let me stand beside a human." Evan's voice was calm. "Steady, let them try," he said. "We survived this long. We'll survive them too." Sarika stared at him with a mix of fear and hope. She squeezed his hand a little tighter. "Then we run together," she whispered. The jungle grew darker. Thunder rolled across the sky. And for the first time, they were not just surviving, they were choosing each other. Evan and Sarika ran through the dark forest. Lightning cracked across the sky, lighting the leaves in white fire. Thunder rolled so loud it shook loose branches from the trees. The storm was coming early. Faster than the countdown predicted, Sarika limped, her injured legs slowing her with every step. Evan stayed close, never letting her fall. "You okay?" he asked breathlessly. Sarika nodded weakly. "I can move." But not fast. Behind them, distant screams echoed. The alien soldiers still fighting the jungle lord. No one could survive that beast for long. Evan knew they had only one chance. Reach the high cliff where the old communication tower stood. Launch a signal strong enough to reach orbit. The wind grew stronger. Trees slammed into each other like giants fighting in the dark. Blue lightning danced across the sky in branching veins. Sarika shivered. Storm spiral. "It is starting." Evan held her close. "Then we climb faster." They reached the cliff path, a narrow rocky trail winding upward along the mountain wall. The storm winds cut across it with violent force. Rain slashed sideways like blades of water. Sarika almost slipped. But Evan caught her wrist. He pulled her closer. "I got you," he said softly. She looked at him, water dripping from her silver hair. "You always say that," she whispered. "And I always will." Evan replied. They climbed higher. The wind screamed now, sharp and cruel. Thunder cracked so close the ground trembled under their feet. Above them, the communication tower rose through the fog, tall, ancient, broken at the top. But the base still glowed faintly, old power waiting to wake. Evan checked his kit. The tools were wet, damaged, but still usable. If he could connect the tower's crystal core to his Terran beacon, they could send a signal strong enough to reach space. They reached the platform at the top of the cliff. The storm raged around them like a living beast. Lightning struck the ground nearby, exploding stone into dust. Sarika held the tower wall for support, her eyes worried. Evan, can you fix it in time? Evan kneeled beside the crystal core. I can try, he said. That's enough, she whispered. He opened the crystal panel. Bright blue light burst out. The energy hummed and pulsed like a heartbeat. Evan connected wires quickly, hands shaking from the cold. The storm wind tried to rip the tools from his fingers. But he kept going. Sarika watched him, her chest tight with fear. Her people had always told her humans were weak, selfish, dangerous. But this man? He stood against monsters, storms, soldiers, all for her. She stepped closer. You are nothing like what we were told, she whispered. Evan didn't look up. I get that a lot, he said with a small smile. Then, a sound cut through the storm, a deep metallic howl. Sarika's eyes widened in terror. No, not again. From the fog below, the jungle lord climbed the cliff. Its massive claws dug into the rock. Its glowing cracks pulsed brighter with every step. Thunder reflected in its red eye. It roared, shaking the entire cliff. Evan stood up and moved in front of Sarika. The cliff trembled beneath them. It followed us again? Seriously? He shouted over the storm. Sarika grabbed his arm, fear swallowing her voice. It wants the light. The crystal power, she said. That creature hungers for energy. The monster climbed higher. Each step shattered stone. Pieces fell into the endless darkness below. Evan whispered, I'll hold it off. Sarika's eyes widened. No, you cannot fight that. Evan gave her a sad smile. You said your ancestors were protectors, he said. Well, humans can be protectors too, before she could stop him. The monster lunged. Evan grabbed a metal bar from the tower and swung it. It hit the creature's jaw with a loud clang. The beast roared in pain and fury. Sarika screamed, Evan, get back. But the monster attacked again. Swiping with a massive claw, Evan dodged narrowly, the wind nearly throwing him off the cliff. He stumbled, slipped. Sarika caught his hand just in time, her grip tight, desperate. I said I would not leave you, she whispered with shaking breath. The creature roared again, preparing to strike once more. Lightning flashed. The tower crystal flared bright. Evan's eyes widened. It's charging, he whispered. The tower is waking up. He pulled himself up quickly and ran back to the controls. Sarika picked up a broken spear from the ground. She stepped in front of him, her body shaking, but her eyes fierce. I will protect you now, she said. The monster lunged again. Sarika stabbed its arm. The beast screamed, pulling back. Lightning cracked across its body, stunning it. Evan connected the final wire. The tower exploded with bright light. A massive beam shot into the sky, cutting through the storm clouds. The ground shook, the wind screamed. The energy light lit the entire valley like a second sun. Sarika looked up, tears mixing with rain. We did it. Above the clouds, a Terran ship detected the signal. Within minutes, engines roared through the storm. A beam of light surrounded Evan and Sarika. Lifting them from the collapsing cliff, the jungle lord screamed below as the storm swallowed it. Inside the Terran ship, Sarika leaned against Evan. Exhausted, her eyes soft and warm. "You saved me again," she whispered. Evan smiled weakly. "We saved each other above the storm." The two of them sat together, enemies by history, partners by survival, bound by something stronger than fear. And somewhere in the universe, two species would soon learn that a human and an alien stranded together could change everything.